Chosen One, December 11th. God urges you to listen before 11:11 p.m. There is something about this day that has been marked in the heavens. A signal has been released. Something divine is moving toward your direction with force, with certainty, and with a precision only God could orchestrate. The atmosphere is charged with intention. There is a supernatural message traveling toward you that is wrapped in urgency, wrapped in clarity, and wrapped in power. This is not just another moment. It is a divine appointment, and God has chosen you to hear it. Before 11:11 p.m., a window will open and what was once hidden from you will begin to appear in waves. This is not coincidence. This is not noise. This is alignment. Watch this video until the very end. There's a reason this has come into your life right now. There's a reason it couldn't wait any longer. God placed this word in motion to collide with your spirit on this very date, December 11th. And write your warmest wishes in the comments and write Amen along with the number 99. This is not just about the words on a screen. It's about the energy you release into the world. Something miraculous is responding to your alignment with the truth in this moment. Now, Chosen One, like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And let's begin. There are certain hours in life that don't repeat. Certain doors that do not swing open twice. And this evening, the divine clock is ticking with a sound only the chosen can feel deep within their bones. It's not just a sound. It's a call, a stirring, a holy knocking at the door of your understanding. You are being invited into a higher frequency, a clearer knowing, and a bolder season of movement. What you've been sensing is not confusion. It's calibration. It's God adjusting your senses to recognize what others cannot see. The world may appear the same to the untrained eye, but something is different in your realm. The energy around you has shifted. The silence has been speaking. And this message is not about what you see in front of you. It's about what God is showing you in the spirit. You've been carrying questions, unanswered moments, delays that didn't make sense. But December 11th is not about explaining the past. It's about activating what's next. God does not send urgency without purpose. This day carries a divine rhythm, a whisper from the heavens that carries more weight than 1,000 conversations. And you, Chosen One, are the one meant to receive it. Not because you forced it, not because you asked for it the loudest, but because your spirit remained open even when your mind was exhausted. Even when doors didn't open, even when prayers went seemingly unanswered. But now the answer is forming not in words, but in events, in movements, in things that shift around you without warning, in people who suddenly exit, in opportunities that feel too perfect to be planned, in quiet moments that spark loud confirmations. God is not bound by man's time. But God does honor moments like this one. Appointed hours, sacred sequences. And tonight, before 11:11 p.m., something in your atmosphere is aligning. You may have been waiting for a sign, but the truth is you already received it. The stirring in your chest, the pressure you've been feeling, the sense that something enormous is about to begin. It's all part of the preparation. God never calls without equipping. And this call has your name all over it. Even when you don't feel ready, the divine realm knows you are. You've endured too much, grown too deeply, sacrificed too quietly. And now the silence is becoming sound. This sound is not just information. It is a release. It is the kind of release that unlocks things you forgot you asked for. That pulls into your reality the blessings you once whispered in half-belief. This is where the harvest meets the moment where prayers collide with permission. God has authorized your next level and the proof is in the pressure. The more intense it's been lately, the more certain the shift is now. Don't let the enemy trick you into thinking the delay was denial. The delay was construction and the building is now complete. Chosen one, you must understand how rare this alignment is. When God urges you to listen before a certain hour, it means time is being compressed. It means a heavenly sequence is unfolding and what's coming doesn't require explanation. It requires reception. You're not being asked to figure it out. You're being asked to make room. The overflow is scheduled. The shift is authorized. The opening is timed. You are not behind. You are exactly on divine time. Everything that tried to distract you from hearing this message was designed to keep you out of position. But here you are, present, aligned, ready. And the heavens have noticed every tear, every moment of restraint. Every time you chose peace when you had the right to shout. Every time you remained kind when anger wanted to erupt. Every time you chose obedience over comfort, God noticed. And now heaven is moving in response. Not as a reward but as a revelation. Because this is who you are. You are not just someone going through a spiritual journey. You are the journey. You are the living proof that God still speaks, that God still acts. That divine timing is not myth. It's mathematics. And something in that divine equation has reached completion. That's why you feel the pull. That's why you feel the pressure. That's why this hour feels heavier than others. Because the wait is ending. Not just for what you want, but for who you are. The part of you that has been hidden behind worry. The part of you that's been muffled by old identities. The part of you that shines even when no one applauds. That's the part God is activating now. The part that was selected before you were born. The part that was sealed with divine instruction. You don't need validation to confirm what you already carry. What's inside you is bigger than their approval. This is not about popularity. It's about purpose. Purpose doesn't need to shout. Purpose moves in silence, then speaks through action. And your actions, even in the quiet, have summoned something holy. You didn't know your consistency was building a bridge between realms. But it was. Every moment you stayed faithful became bricks in a path only the chosen can walk. You're not walking blindly, you're walking prophetically. And now on December 11th, the lights are coming on. Not for the world to see you, but for you to see what God is doing. Everything that has felt uncertain is now becoming clarified. Not because it makes logical sense, but because it makes divine sense. The kind that doesn't require evidence. The kind that breaks natural law. The kind that takes what was low and lifts it without effort. You are being lifted not because you begged for it, but because the time said so. Because God marked this hour with your name, the proof will not be in what you hear. It will be in what you experience. The shift may begin subtly, a call, a moment of stillness, a conversation that awakens something in you, an opportunity that seems tailor-made. Do not dismiss the small signs. God often wraps massive blessings in moments that look ordinary. But you, chosen one, will feel the difference. Your soul knows when the wind has changed. And the wind is changing right now. Before 11:11 p.m., the veil thins, the signal sharpens, and the atmosphere favors the faithful. You are being urged to listen, not with your ears, but with your spirit. Not with panic, but with power. God is not pressuring you. God is prompting you because what is coming is not random. It is refined. It is curated for your elevation. This moment was always in the plan. It was simply waiting for your readiness to match its arrival. The air has shifted again. As the seconds push us closer to the threshold of 11:11 p.m., something sacred continues to move beneath the surface of this moment. You may not be able to name it with your lips yet, but your spirit is already responding. Chosen one. The presence you feel is not just energy. It is divine orchestration unfolding in real time. The call to listen is not passive. It is an activation, a spiritual opening that God only gives to those who have been entrusted with the next dimension of movement. You are being called into something precise, something destined, something alive. Everything you endured was never wasted. Every delay you thought was denial was simply God's way of ensuring you wouldn't settle for something beneath your calling. The pain that felt like a punishment was the hammer shaping your next chapter. The silence wasn't absence. It was reverence. God wasn't ignoring you. God was preparing the world for the weight of your arrival. And now, as the world sleeps on, something is waking up inside you. What you're stepping into now is not reaction. It is revelation. This hour before 11:11 p.m. is about remembering who you were before the trauma, before the disappointment, before the betrayal, before the worry clouded your vision. God is stripping away every false belief, every shallow narrative, every tired label. This is a divine cleansing of perception. You are not becoming something new. You are returning to what you've always been beneath the dust. You've been walking through seasons where you questioned if it was ever going to happen, if the breakthrough would arrive, if the door would open, if your name was even being considered. But today is not just about answers. It's about a holy unveiling. God isn't just giving you results. God is giving you remembrance. The kind that makes your shoulders stand taller. The kind that makes your pace more certain. The kind that silences all lies that said you were forgotten. This divine urgency is not about panic. It is about precision. God doesn't move in fear. God moves in perfect timing. And this is it. The space between the old and the new is closing rapidly. A bridge is being formed under your feet. Not by your efforts, but by your endurance. You survived what others didn't see. You pressed forward when the spotlight disappeared. You stayed faithful when the reward felt far. But here's what you didn't realize. Every unseen sacrifice was being tallied in the spirit. God does not forget loyalty. And yours has been holy. You stayed even when you wanted to leave. You gave even when you had little left. You believed even when your faith trembled. And now as December 11th glows with spiritual charge, the heavens have released a signal only the chosen can interpret, that stirring. You feel that flutter in your spirit. That moment where you pause because something feels divine. That's not imagination. That's confirmation. And it's happening now. The world might label this coincidence. But those who are aligned know better. They know the difference between emotion and revelation. They know that God doesn't operate by man's understanding. This isn't about logic. It's about lineage. Spiritual lineage. The path your soul agreed to before you ever took your first breath. The journey that was written for you while you were still wrapped in divine mystery. And now that mystery is revealing its next chapter. There is a clarity forming in your life. It may begin subtly, a sudden urge to shift, to move, to prepare. Or it may come in a wave, a phone call, an encounter, a breakthrough that breaks open more than your plans. You are not late. You are right on time. You are not behind. You are right at the threshold. What felt like stagnation was incubation. The waiting room wasn't a punishment. It was the holy place where God was finalizing the details of your release, chosen one. This isn't just about hearing. It's about receiving. This moment is a divine delivery, a confirmation wrapped in urgency. The kind of urgency that comes when the spiritual realm is aligning faster than the physical can catch up. You may feel like you're still in the dark about the how, but God already moved on. The when, and that when is December 11th. That when is before 11:11 p.m. That when is now. So many around you won't see it. They won't feel what you feel. They'll continue as if nothing has changed. But your spirit knows otherwise. Your inner ear is hearing what their eyes can't detect. You have been tuned to the divine frequency. The one that doesn't need volume. The one that speaks in silence. And that silence is louder than ever right now. There is something about you that responds to timing. Something that has always been able to sense when a moment is divine. Even as a child, you could feel things shift before others noticed. You could sense the importance of moments before they were labeled as milestones. That ability wasn't random. It was part of your assignment. And that gift is being sharpened right now. Because what you are about to walk into will require that sensitivity. You will not be able to rely on sight alone. You will have to lean on the unseen, on the whispers, on the knowing that comes without reason. That is how the chosen navigate the next level. Not by maps, but by messages from God. And one of those messages is pouring into your life right now. There is something divine being transferred into your timeline. It's not forced. It's flowing. It's not begged for. It's been prepared for. And while others are chasing answers, you're being given access. Access to clarity. Access to favor. Access to moments that others thought were impossible. You are not walking into this accidentally. You've been pulled into it by divine assignment. The doors that are about to open for you were not just doors. They were vaults. Vaults filled with things that were locked away until the appointed time. Until your identity matched your inheritance. And now they match. You've been tested, refined, broken open, rebuilt stronger. And the version of you standing here now, that version is exactly who the promise has been waiting for. You didn't miss the moment. The moment has been waiting for you to arrive in full awareness. That's why this day feels different. That's why you feel this message so deeply. That's why you can't look away. Because your name is wrapped in this urgency. Your future is tangled in this divine countdown. Not in fear, but in fulfillment. You are not being rushed. You are being revealed. The truth of who you are is being echoed by God through this very hour. The shift is already happening. Even as you listen, something is falling into place. Pieces are clicking. The weight is lifting. The fog is clearing. Because when God says now, there is no force that can delay what has been scheduled. You've waited long enough. You've held the vision long enough. You've protected your purpose through seasons of drought. And now the rain is coming, not as a flood of chaos, but as a flood of confirmation. So receive this flood. Let it wash over everything that doubted. Let it soak the parts of you that grew weary. Let it bring life back to the areas that felt forgotten. This is your watering season, your reviving moment, your divine signal, and it is not asking for permission. It is here. The evidence will not come all at once. But the feeling in your spirit, that unmistakable divine knowing, that is already enough. Because when God urges, it is not to scare you. It is to stir you. And what's being stirred right now? That's destiny. That's arrival. That's alignment. As the hands of the clock sweep toward that sacred intersection, 11:11 p.m., the veil thins, what was distant feels near. What was invisible begins to flicker with clarity. You can feel the divine tension, can't you? It's not anxiety, it's anticipation. It's your soul responding to a moment God scheduled before you were even born. The frequency of this hour is not measured in seconds but in signals. Signals sent from the throne of God straight to your spirit. The moment is not ordinary. Neither are you. And this is what you need to know. God is not just sending you into the next season. God is transforming the structure of your reality to make space for what has always been promised to you. This transformation is not small. It is not subtle. It is undeniable. Even if it doesn't begin with thunder, the ripple effect will echo loudly through everything connected to your destiny. Chosen one. This is a divine reconstruction. Structures are changing around you because the calling within you has matured. You can no longer stay in rooms that don't reflect your rank. You can no longer stay tethered to cycles that insult your soul. You were never meant to blend in. You were created to shift atmospheres. And December 11th is not here to give you a gentle push. It is here to issue a divine command. Listen, everything you have walked through, every shadow, every silence, every moment of pain was necessary to prepare you for this level of divine responsibility. Because what's about to be placed in your hands carries weight. God doesn't give flimsy blessings to sturdy souls. No, God gives legacy to those who didn't fold. And you, chosen one, did not fold. You bent, you broke, you wept, but you did not abandon the mission. And now the mission is about to unfold in front of you. This isn't a restart. This is a release. You are not returning to the same old cycle with a new name. You are being called into the place your spirit has always remembered. A place of alignment, a place of abundance, a place where effort meets ease, where instruction meets increase, and where your presence begins to produce without resistance. Because God is removing the barriers, the invisible ones, the internal ones, the ancestral ones. Every chain that has tried to bind you to a lesser life is being shattered by the sound of this very moment. Yes, sound. Even if no one around you hears it, your spirit does. The frequency is unmistakable. It is the sound of permission, the sound of divine unlocking, the sound of heaven's yes. And when God says yes, no force, no delay, no resistance can override it. This moment is not asking for effort. It's asking for recognition, to recognize that what's shifting in your life is not random. It is not coincidence. It is orchestration, precision, divine choreography. Your name has been echoing through spiritual halls. And now the doors are opening, not because you begged, but because you were born for them. Your very existence was scheduled to align with this timing. That's why the delay was so intense. That's why the pressure mounted. That's why the warfare increased right before this hour. Because you are the answer to a divine problem. And now the world will see what heaven has already known. There are moments where history turns quietly. This is not one of them. This is loud. This is bold. This is celestial force entering your timeline with power. God is not just blessing you. God is reintroducing you to yourself, to the world, to the people who misread your silence, to the systems that underestimated your patience, to the enemies who mocked your weight, to the future that's been holding its breath for you to arrive fully. And here you are, fully awakened, fully aligned, fully available. This is what you were built for. This is why you couldn't quit. This is why the attacks didn't break you. Because what is coming next needed the refined version of you. The version that sees through distractions. The version that no longer seeks approval. The version that understands timing. The version that hears God clearly even in the dark. You've been trained for this moment in places no one applauded. But heaven saw it all. And now heaven is answering. This day, this window before 11:11 p.m. is more than symbolic. It's spiritual engineering. It's where your yes meets God's yes. It's where resistance ends and reality shifts. What has been held up is now being handed over. What has been postponed is now being prioritized. What was hidden is being highlighted. And you chosen one are not a spectator. You are the reason this moment exists. Let that settle. You are the reason God orchestrated this time. Because what you carry has been needed. Your voice, your presence, your obedience, your patience. None of it has been in vain. The world will soon understand what the Spirit has always known. You are an agent of divine transition. You don't just change your life. You shift bloodlines. You interrupt curses. You build altars with your walk. You echo faith where fear once ruled. That is the weight you carry. And now the heavens are shifting to make room for you to rise. You may not see it all yet, but you feel it. And that feeling is the precursor to fulfillment. Everything around you is beginning to respond to your obedience. People are shifting. Places are calling. Provision is awakening, not because of luck, but because of divine law. When the appointed time comes, nothing can delay what has been decreed. And your decree, chosen one, has been spoken by God. Not whispered, spoken, not hidden, released. The silence was only a setup. It was the space needed for the divine to gather its forces. The quiet before the miracle. The hush before the roar. And now the roar is coming. A roar of recognition. A roar of reawakening. A roar of reward. Not because you demanded it, but because your spirit drew it in. Because your alignment activated it. Because your endurance earned it. So now, before the clock strikes that sacred hour, breathe deeply. This isn't an ending. This is a crossover, a passing through, a sacred arrival. And as you walk through this moment, know that you are not alone. Heaven is with you. God is ahead of you. The wind is behind you. And your next step, your very next step, will land on the grounds of divine favor. The silence is trembling now, not with fear, but with power. The kind of power that only God can stir when it's time to fulfill what was written. This is the weight of divine momentum. The spiritual atmosphere around you is thick with intention. December 11th is not just a date. It is a doorway, and the moment before 11:11 p.m. is not just a time. It's a trigger, a spiritual ignition point. Something is about to fire in the spirit realm and the impact will echo across your physical world. You can feel it in your chest. That divine rhythm building, the internal drumbeat of destiny getting louder. God is not whispering anymore. The signals are sharp. The alignment is tight. You are no longer circling the outskirts of your purpose. You are standing in the center of it, and that changes everything. This is what you've been sensing for weeks, maybe even months. That something monumental was being stitched together in the unseen. That everything was being recalibrated behind the scenes. The detours, the delays, the disruptions. It all looked like interference, but it was really interference proofing. God was protecting what had to grow in silence. And now it's ready to bloom in the light. Chosen one, this is your unfolding. You're not cracking open, you're rising. What was once too heavy for you is now your mantle. What you once questioned is now your confirmation. The very places that bruised you have become the places that prove your resilience. The fire didn't burn you. It branded you. You carry the mark of someone who went through and came out golden, refined, precise, focused. That's what this moment requires. Focus. This isn't a time for doubt. It's not a time for hesitation. It's a time to recognize that the reason you feel so stirred is because heaven is pressing in close. God's presence is wrapping itself around your circumstances and reshaping what's been stuck. This isn't just a turning point. It's a divine tilt. The scale is shifting. The balance is changing, and you are being tilted into favor. God is rebalancing everything that was once lopsided in your life. Your name is moving into rooms your feet haven't touched yet. Your energy is calling in opportunities that your voice hasn't even spoken for. The divine knows who you are, and the earth is about to catch up. What used to feel like resistance is about to feel like momentum. What you used to push against will now start to pull you forward. Why? Because the heavens have declared, it's time. Time for what was withheld to be released. Time for what was broken to be restored. Time for what was stagnant to surge. There is a sacred flow opening now. One that doesn't ask for strategy. It asks for sensitivity because this is not a season of logic. This is a season of listening, not with your ears, but with your spirit. Your internal compass is being drawn to a place that doesn't look familiar to others, but it feels right to you. Trust that. Trust what God is imprinting on your heart. The promptings, the nudges, the shifts in your gut, that is your direction now. The path ahead won't be marked with signs that everyone else can read. It will be marked with signs that only you can interpret because God is speaking directly to your assignment, not to the crowd, not to the critics, to you. And what He is saying is this: prepare to walk in what you prayed for. Not just dream about it, not just talk about it, not just hope for it, but live in it. Breathe it, become it. You are no longer rehearsing. You are arriving. The set has been built. The lights have shifted. The atmosphere is right. And now the spotlight of purpose is swinging toward you. Not to flatter your ego, but to fulfill your calling. And there's more. This is not just about your journey. This is about everything that is tied to your obedience. There are people who will be elevated because you said yes. There are generations that will be healed because you decided not to quit. There are entire bloodlines that will experience breakthrough because you held the line when everything tried to shake you. You weren't just enduring for yourself. You were enduring for everything connected to your name. And your name is powerful in the Spirit. God has etched your identity into this divine sequence. You are part of something larger, something eternal, something that was never meant to be rushed, but always destined to be released at exactly the right time. And that time is now. This is why everything feels so magnified, why emotions are high, why your sleep has been interrupted, why moments feel more electric than usual. You are standing in the voltage of divine convergence, the intersection of promise and preparation. And the current flowing through this moment is not random. It's royal. It's coming from the throne room of God. And you, chosen one, are being charged with heaven's energy. That charge is not just to feel inspired. It's to be transformed into the vessel that can carry the weight of this next assignment. The responsibility, the wealth, the influence, the visibility, the clarity. You will not just receive blessings. You will become the evidence of them. You will walk as the testimony others have been praying to see. You are becoming the proof that God still moves. This shift is global in reach but personal in design. Everything is tailored to your spiritual DNA. That's why the attacks couldn't stop you. They weren't built to understand your blueprint. Only God knows the full architecture of what's inside you. And now He's activating it. The locks are breaking open. The seals are being removed. And you are walking into the territory of answered prayers. The air around you is responding. Everything in your environment will begin to reflect what's happening inside you. People will change. Conversations will shift. Doors will open. Blockages will dissolve. Not because of external effort, but because of internal elevation. When you rise in the Spirit, your world rises with you. And right now, your spirit is standing taller than ever before. This is not an emotional high. It's a prophetic high point. And the view from here, it's clear. You can finally see what was ahead of you all along: favor, fruit, fulfillment. The waiting wasn't a waste. It was the final test before the floodgates. And those gates, they're trembling. They're on the verge of bursting open. All the pressure, all the build-up, all the unseen intercession. It's culminating now. Before 11:11 p.m., you'll sense it. The release, the click, the cosmic nod from heaven that says, go. You've waited long enough. God has waited long enough. Now it begins. You can feel it now in your chest. The anticipation, the spiritual pressure, the holy presence of something immense closing in. The closer we draw to 11:11 p.m., the more undeniable the vibration becomes. It's not a whisper anymore. It's a thunder wrapped in stillness. Not chaotic, but deeply powerful, steady, intentional, chosen one. This is what alignment feels like in its purest form. Not a rush, not confusion, just divine certainty pressing against every cell in your being. There are no more signs to wait for, no more fleeces to lay out, no more confirmations to beg for. The message has been delivered. The timing has been declared. And God is moving swiftly, precisely, unapologetically. Because when God determines that something must happen, it does not consult with the circumstances. It rewrites them. It does not ask the opinions of others. It overrides them. And right now you are walking into an override moment. This moment has been scheduled in the unseen for a long time. For years things felt delayed, fragmented, partial almost, but never fully. You were standing on the edge of what felt like breakthrough only to watch it dissolve into mist. You tried, you hoped, you waited, and just when your heart began to harden, something deep within you refused to die. That part of you, that sacred ember that would not go out, is the part God is touching now. You're not just being reignited. You're being restructured. The internal landscape of who you are is being rewritten in real time. God is not restoring you to who you were before the pain. He's resurrecting the version of you that pain could not kill. That calling, that fire, that inner roar, it's always been there. It was never lost, just hidden. And now it's rising, full of revelation. This is a rising season. Not rising for attention, but rising for activation. God is not interested in creating influences. God is creating impact. And you are chosen to be the impact, not in theory, but in practice. Your very presence will begin to disturb darkness, to activate environments, to shift atmospheres. You will walk into spaces and things will change. Not because of ego, but because of essence, because you carry something that cannot be copied, cannot be manufactured, and cannot be denied. You carry the mark of obedience. And that obedience is what unlocked this divine timing. You didn't know your quiet yes would echo in the spirit, but it did.